Alright guys, welcome to session number, session 5 I believe, session 5 of how to create a cryptocurrency payment system in Node.js. So in this session what we're going to be looking at is BIP39 and HD wallets. So if you don't know what those two are, we'll give a little explanation about it. So HD is, I can't remember what it stands for, something derived wallets, HD wallet, let me just get that. It's a deterministic wallet, basically. Hierarchical, deterministic. Sorry, I should have had that to hand. Okay, so a hierarchical derived. I can't remember the name of, derived wallet, basically. So what we're going to be doing is basically this is a security mechanism when creating your own coin. So what happened in the past is you would just create a random private key and subsequent public key when you were creating a wallet, and the issues that this would cause is, I mean, because it's random, this sort of like if you only remember part of your key, you're kind of you might lose some of the rest of them, let's say in a database failure or something like that, or part of the file gets corrupted. So what this does is it's a way of actually remembering one piece of information in a cryptographically secure way. That people just cannot guess. There's far too much search space for somebody to find out, and your passphrase or whatever, and basically keep it safe. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at this. So this is the site we're going to go on to, eCommerce.io, and we're going to use this to generate a mnemonic phrase. If you've ever used like a hardware wallet or something like that, you'll get a list of 24 words. And this is basically what that is. So let's generate it. Now this is a safe website, you can go on it. You can also download it yourself and read the source code. Do verify it. I would make sure you do this on an offline machine and make sure, that this doesn't leave. Once you've run it down on the offline machine, you do it safely. Just because you don't really want to make sure, you want to make sure that this isn't leaked anywhere online, because this is going to be your wallet, basically. Okay, so let's just do this a few times. Cool. We are going to be using Bitcoin. We're going to be using the Bitcoin testnet, but it doesn't matter because we can generate all sorts of coins from this. Alright, so this one looks fine. Okay, so that is our mnemonic phrase. It's the one we're going to be using in this course. Now you can add a passphrase, which I definitely recommend doing, such as like a password, if that is your password, and that basically just overwrites the seed. It doesn't matter too much at this stage though, because we're not going to be actually using the seed, but you want to make sure you keep your mnemonic phrase. So we're just going to add this to our source code, and this is what the phrase, well, we're going to write this down actually, we're not going to add it to our source code. You want to keep that somewhere for you. So I'm just going to write some notes for this. Gnote is fine. I'm just keeping this, I'm not going to use this mnemonic phrase, it's just for showing. You want to keep this secret. This is very, very, you want to make sure you're secure here. Alright. So I'm just writing it down now. Perfect. Okay, so what do we have here? We have basically the derivation path. I can't say that by basically for derived addresses. So these are, you can see we've got all these addresses that are derived. Now, all because of this phrase. Now this phrase is impossible to guess. It takes a lot of computing power to try and even find a collision. But this is the phrase that we kind of want. So we're going to use something called BIP44 in this one, which basically allows us extended public keys and extended private keys, as you can see. So basically, you derive a path from it. I'm not going to go into too much about BIP32, BIP44. BIP32 is the original one. BIP44 is a little bit more than that. You can kind of set the coin, set the account, and things like that. But basically, what you want to do is you want to set Bitcoin testnet, because that's the testnet we're going to use, which you can see is actually coin 1, not coin 0. You'll see that it's 44 because that's the bit number. We're just going to have an account of 0, and it's going to be internal, external, basically external accounts. Now you can see here you've got account extended private key and account extended public key. You want to take the public key, because that's what we're going to be using, and you want to apply it to your code. So we're going to open up our configuration and add that in there. Don't worry too much about this. I know we're going quite fast, but it will kind of make sense a little bit. Okay, so let's go to our config. And we have got emails and stuff, but I don't think we actually need that. But we're going to do BIP44. Or we can do xpub. Xpub is fine as well. And save it in there. Now, if you have a coin that's not listed on here, that's fine. What you want to do is you just want to change your coin path, and the coin path will kind of work with any sort of bit key. It doesn't matter too much what your coin path is. You just want to make sure, see if they've got one already. There are a load of coins on here that are listed, so most of the major coins are going to be supported. It doesn't matter too much because the way you generate the key from this, what's it called? Extended public, or xpub as it's called, it is completely different. But for the meantime, we'll just stick with the testnet, so Bitcoin testnet. And you'll see this one actually comes out with a tpub, which is slightly different, but don't worry too much about it. It should be an xpub. There is also ypubs and zpubs, but we're not going to go into that. Okay, so that's our public key. So from this, we can actually generate all the addresses and have our private keys secretly stashed away. So it doesn't matter if we commit this. This is okay to commit. So how do we go about doing this? So first of all, what we're going to want to do is just do npm, let me get rid of this blinding light, and go to terminal. Okay, and we're going to get out of here. Okay, so let's install Bitcoin.js, I believe. Let me just double check the website. Okay, Bitcoin.js lib. Alright, so we've added this in. Now, how do we do this? So we do const Bitcoin, require Bitcoin.js lib. I think it should just be Bitcoin.js, but we'll see. Okay, I'm just getting up the notes for Bitcoin.js lib, just because I want to make sure we get it correct. Cool. I'm just checking some notes that I do have on this. Find out. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. So we want to get new addressed. So, I mean, initially all we're going to do is just get the initial address, and then we're going to add some sort of like address, I guess, checking in there, verifying it. I mean, we could do that because we're already indexing by address, if I believe. Yes, we are. So we're going to want to also add a couple more to our order schemas. But that should be fine. We're going to want to add a status. So we're just going to add that now, actually. So in the order schema, just add a status. It's going to be a type of string. It's going to be enum. Let's leave that, actually. Let's leave it for the moment. I'm going to leave that like that. Okay. So let's get a new address. I'm just trying to find, because we're currently exporting, but we don't want to export xpubs. We've already got one, so we just want to generate a bunch of addresses based on this xpub. All right, let me have a little look at the. So I'm just trying to find the correct notes for this. We can just import the. All right, that should be fine. Okay, so let's get our configuration. Config equals require. All right, so we've got our xpub here. Now what we're going to want to do is basically create a node. So let's do const node equals bip32 from base 58. And we'll do xpub here. So we could just do this as well. Let's see how it works. Bip32 is not defined, that's fine. I just want to... Sorry, it's a bit janky this session, but we're just trying to make sure we've got everything. Okay, so we're going to bip32 require bip32, and bip32 is an add-on library. For some reason I can't find it, which is funny. Let's just hi bip32. Let's do this as well. And we may as well do bip39 while we're at it. Okay, cool. So we want to add the version, I guess it's the testnet version. Let's do that. Bip32 from base 39. We're going to do bitcoin.networks.testnet. Okay, so that is fine. Now let's add some configuration onto here. Testnet true. Be okay. Okay, perfect. So that's basically it. So we've added in we've got basically our node, we've fitted it from the base 58, and we can then derive paths from it. So how do we go about getting addresses or deriving a path? We just basically do this. So we just do node.derive path 0. So return const path equals that. And then we need to get the address from there, so let's do that. Okay, so let me just open the bip32 library. Just to get the documentation up. All right, so this basically gets, I believe, we return depth index private key. Just trying to figure out what we actually return here. They've changed it around a little bit, which is fine. It's just been a while since I had a look at this library. It's a very useful library as well. I recommend checking it out. Gives you all the information you need. You know what? Instead of just messing around like this, let's just curl it. Ah, let's not curl it. Okay, I'll just use the website. I haven't got a curl request that works correctly. So where's Opera? Here we are. Okay, so that is one of the issues. We just want to derive 0. So that's the address number, and we will add a way of doing that in there. Now, there is a really easy way that we can derive the address number, which we will just probably use. Okay, cool. So path get address does not exist, but we do get a bunch of other stuff in there, such as queue, with things like that. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to just write some quick code that allows us to get this address out of there. Okay. So we'll just do return payments.pay to public key hash pub key node.public key. So this is the public key from the node, and we'll do network, and then we'll just get the address. Perfect. So that should be everything we need to do, and then we need to basically just do this const count equals 0 for the moment. So just do count. Okay. And this, will cause a bit of an issue. Okay, let's go back here. Cannot read pay to public key hash of undefined. Interesting. Let's figure out what's going on here. I've got too many browsers open, that's my issue. Cannot read pay to public key hash of undefined. Let's figure out what's going on here. So the source is, I guess it's index.js. Payments should be there. So should bit32 actually. Okay, so let's do bitcoin.bit32. Okay. Let's just log it, see what we got here. We got scripts, buffer utils, block, EC pair, HD node. Okay. So this looks like it's an older version than what I'm looking at online. So we'll use this version for the meantime, because it looks like they've done a big revamp, but they've not got there up there. So this will be kind of like future work. So okay, we can do bitcoin.hd node, and that should be fine. Okay, let's just do console.log node. Let's not log the Bitcoin anymore. That should be okay. Return this. Sorry about that, guys and girls. All right. payment address is required, fine. So HD node, we get EC pair. We basically want to just convert an address. So how do we go about doing that? Yeah, okay. I see. So we're getting on the old code, figure out what's going on here. So they did do a new release. I guess they've not updated npm just yet. Reality is you can probably update using direct to GitHub. For the moment, make sure you use tag 3.3.2. But you know what? We're not going to use tag 3.3.2. We're going to actually change that. So I want to keep it up to date, and by the time I release this video, it's going to be outdated. So let's use the most current option, shall we? Okay. Yeah, completely different. Okay. Let's do this. I believe this should be fine. Okay, so we just use the HTTPS link for the Bitcoin.js, and that will give us the most up-to-date. Perfect. And now, as you can see, we don't have the things that we did before, so we'll do this. And that should work. Okay. The reason I'm doing that, I mean, by the time, as long as version 4 is out on npm, then use that. If it's not, then just install directly. That is the most up-to-date version, is what you want to do. Okay, I'm just going to quickly check the cart again. Okay, so everything looks good here. Now, if we check our MongoDB database, we should have db.orders.find. Let me move my face as well so you can all see. And there we go, we have a payment address. But you'll see if I try to do this again by doing what I did before, which is just reloading the page and clicking there, we get an error because we've already got that payment address. So in this case, what we want to do, you probably can't see that error. I kind of can. Let's go back to this. So what we want to do here is we want to get the count, and we just want to increment this each time. Now, luckily, we know that because of that error that we're only going to have one payment address per order, and we want to keep it like that. We don't want to issue an order unless the payment address has been completed. So let's do that. Const payment. So count, we already said that is 0. Let's do count equals. So the count is the orders. Order. Actually, we can just do order.count. But we need to await it, so we'll do await order.count. And we'll try that. Let's give that a go. Okay, so it doesn't look like the count did too well. Let's try console.count. One. So for some reason the payment address is because we've only done node.public key. Let's do path.public key. Okay. We're just going to change this to root. And root here, node. and then here, node. So you want to make sure that happens, but because we've got everything set up like this, it's fine. Okay. And collection.count is excrement, what's it called? Incorrect, so let's do count documents, because it's deprecated. Alright. So now if we have a look, you can see we've got 2 different addresses. So reset that again and go again. 3 different addresses. And we control the private keys to those addresses, but we've not got the private keys. I mean, I know you saw the mnemonic phrases, but we've not got the private keys anywhere near our server. So that's it. We're basically now generating addresses, and we're generating a unique address for every order that we get in. Normally what you would have on this order as well as like an email address or something like that, so you can kind of manage your users and stuff, but again, that's optimization issues, and I'm going to leave that down to you as implementers. This is just kind of show you how we can do stuff like this. So there you go, we got the payment addresses in. What we're going to be doing on the next session is basically displaying that to the user in a friendly manner. So we're going to be looking at another BIP. I can't remember the name of this one, I think it's BIP24 or something like that, but I'll explain next time. And we'll go from there. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this session.